Hello and welcome to Chit Chat and All That with me, Amanda Prowse.
And me, Penny Dommett. Thank you for joining us for your weekly dose of chatter. We'll be talking all about the things we usually discuss around our kitchen table.
A diverse range of topics and twaddle to titivate and tantalise. And you can, of course, catch up on all previous episodes from wherever you get your podcasts.
So yes, give us a like. Press the subscribe.
Pen, you need to practice the words. You know it's coming every week.
I've never been able to say subscribe.
Do you know what I can't say?
What?
Parkark and Hostipal.
Hostipal. How about the hospital in Dunstable?
No, the worst is the Hostipal car park. Parkark car park. And it costs a bloody fortune.
Anyway, press the follow button. Pull up a chair. Get the kettle on. Come join us round the table.
Oh, yeah, please do. So, Pen, how's your week been?
It's not been too bad at all. But I have to say, I had a very embarrassing thing happen to me this week.
Oh, no, not again. Not in aisle 3. Clean up in aisle 3. Bring the mop.
No, slightly more embarrassing than that. So I had this very important meeting for a lovely big job.
Big job.
And I'm very excited. Oh, you're so puerile. And I'm very excited meeting this slightly highbrow client. I'm not going to say any more, but they were very nice, very large.
Was
house,
it Camilla?
Beautiful. Oh,
Is it Camilla?
Oh, I tell you what, I'd love to go in there, have a rootle through her cupboards. I bet she's got a load of stuff that she didn't know she had.
What, like the odd, crown stashed in a drawer? Or
But anyway, so I went to visit this lovely client and they said, oh, do come in, sit down, have a cup of tea. So I sat down. I made sure I took my dirty boots off first.
Good girl.
And I wore nice clean trousers. So,
matching socks?
Started off well. Actually, you do always have to be a bit careful that you haven't got more mud on your socks than you had on your boots. Anyway, sat down. And as I was going through the sorts of things that we could perhaps do in this wonderful garden, I could see that she wasn't really concentrating and she just kept looking sort of beyond me, past the side of my head. And I was thinking, obviously I'm boring. What is it? How rude.
But we know that.
How rude.
What
how
else
rude.
him?
And she just, in the end, she said, oh, look, I'm really sorry. I've got to stop you. She said, you've got something hanging from your hair. And I went, I didn't quite know what to say. I was sort of lost. And I put my hand up. And I'm at that age now where my other half snores a lot. So I have to wear earplugs, the silicone type that you squash into your ear.
I know.
Obviously, it had fallen out overnight, stuck to my hair, and it was hanging there like a big globule.
Like a bead.
A big globule of snot, I was going to say.
Oh, Pen.
And it was just hanging there. And obviously, she couldn't take her eyes off it.
She was distracted by it. See, I think it's rude of her to mention it.
But then you see, once I extricated it from my hair,
Good work.
I'm thinking, what do I do with it now?
Yeah.
Do I shove it in my pocket? Do I don't know.
Pop it back in your ear?
Yeah, I know. It was very embarrassing. Anyway, I went, just an earplug. But I mean, that sort of ruined the conversation, really. May never hear from her again.
I think it's unlikely.
Yes, I think so.
So as I think I might have mentioned, I had very big hair. And
I thought you were going to say very big ears.
I do. No, my ears are actually unfeasibly small, as is my nose. The rest of me is massive. I was on a tube once. I think I've told you this. And this woman behind me said, excuse me, you've got something in your hair. Can I take it out for you? And I went, yeah, if you like. And it was like an enormous branch. It was like, a bough of an apple tree, like lodged in the back. That was pretty bad. I just think it's getting old, Pen. I think we're just not good at being sharp on stuff anymore.
Well, I think...
Do you think you're old? Do you think you're getting old?
In my head, I still think I'm 30.
Oh, 30. Why that age, I wonder?
I don't know, really. I just thought that was in the middle. I wouldn't...
Please don't say it's in the middle. No. I want it to be a third of the way through. Is that right? My sums are so bad.
Yes.
A third, yeah, good.
I wouldn't want to be back in my 20s because that was full of small children and nappies and not knowing whether you were coming or going. I think by my 30s, things were, beginning to calm down somewhat.
Stability.
Yes. But yet you could still be a bit trendy.
Oh, Pen,
Still
you
being a
are
little bit
still a bit
fashionable.
trendy with your lovely
Yes.
hanging
Oh.
earplug on your hair. You might start a whole new trend, darling.
Might do.
I know I'm getting old. I mean, I still think I have the brain of a 16-year-old. Please, God, may I always. I mean, you know, it's lovely to have that youthful outlook. But my body's kind of about 85, I think, sometimes.
Some mornings, I agree with you. I do feel very old as I'm trying to get up.
I sort of creak out of bed, do you?
Yeah, well, I must get you doing a bit of yoga.
Oh, God, Pen.
Bit of Pilates.
Yeah?
Seriously, if I don't do a couple of sessions of yoga or Pilates a week, and it doesn't have to be big thing going off to a class, because I'm not very good at doing classes with all these lithe,
Lovelies.
beautiful lovelies who go, oh, just put your leg around the back of your neck. It's very easy. I'm very lucky. I started doing a virtual class with wonderful Emma online once a week, and she is fantastic. And so I set up the room to be nice and calm and
make it into a temple.
Yes, little temple, little
Shakti
candle.
mat.
Yes. No, apparently you can do yoga on your Shakti mat, but I have never tried that.
No.
But talking of Shakti mats, actually going off at a tangent, had so many comments about people who use the Shakti mat. If you listened a few episodes ago, Maddie will tell me which one, I can't remember.
2, I think.
I think it was 2. I love my Shakti mat, and so many of you, thank you for messaging and saying, I'm with you, I'm in the Shakti gang.
Even our producer, even Mason was like, oh, I love my Shakti mat. I'm like, am I the only one to miss out on the trend of putting plastic spikes into your body?
Well, honestly, it really does help in many different ways.
You're not going to convert me.
But yoga, Pilates, even if you just did some stretches, particular stretches every day, I'm convinced, it might be psychosomatic, I'm convinced that's what helps keep my back good enough to do the job that I have to do.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I definitely could do more, and I tend to write like curled up like a pretzel most of the day.
So to stretch of an
it's
evening.
really bad, yeah.
And it doesn't have to be for long. It literally can be 5, 6, 7 minutes. And it can make all the world of difference.
Yeah, because I notice, I mean, I genuinely don't feel like, I mean, I don't think I'm old. I'm not old. I'm only 56, 57, somewhere around that age. But yesterday I noticed I was shorter. I had a short day. Do you ever have a short day? Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
I'm usually around 5'4", 5'5". And that's kind of average height. I don't know.
That's me. Yeah, that's me.
And bang average then, Pen.
Yeah.
But yesterday, Simmy and I went for a walk. And I said, oh, I'm having a short day. He said, you know, you are. And he looked down and he went, you are having a short day. And it's weird because my face pops out at 3:15. I don't know what time yours does.
I beg your pardon.
You know, when you wake up in the morning, your face is flat, obviously, flatter. And then it pops out as the day goes on. 3:15 is my optimum beauty.
I suddenly feel like I've stepped into this other world.
Does that not happen to you?
No. What do you mean it pops out?
Well, you know, so you wake up and you're a bit pillow squashed is how I refer to it.
What, like a pug?
Bit puggish, potentially. French bulldog, take your pick. Both admirable, you know, mix of dog. Brands, I was going to say. What do you call it? Not a brand of dog.
Breed,
that's it. But my face is quite flattish, particularly around the eye and nasal area. It's a bit squished. And then as the day goes on, the more I talk and move and am animated.
By 9 o'clock, she's Pinocchio.
No, by 3:15 in the afternoon, Pen. I timed it. Well, because I kept saying, when your face pops out. And Simi kept saying, when does your face fully pop out? So I thought, well, I'm going to have to obviously make a note of this. So it was a few years ago now. I did like a little experiment. I kept looking in the mirror and checking. And I worked out that if ever I need a photograph taken or need to do anything, you know, visual recording, 3:15, that's when I'm fully popped.
Do you sleep on your face?
Yeah.
Is that why it squashes in?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I suppose it might be. Do you not sleep on your face?
No, I sleep on my side.
Which side?
Although saying that, I saw a ridiculous Instagram post this week of
so ridiculous that it's stuck with you and you're going to tell us about it.
It really has. I just thought, I'm sorry, there are things to worry about in life that are far more important. She was trying to sell some sort of face cream, which anybody that has listened to the podcast in the last couple of weeks, you may remember Mandy is in this wonderful position. She never uses face cream. I think I would look about 110 if I didn't use a face cream. Mandy has beautiful skin. I should tell everyone.
I don't think I do.
You do. This lady was telling everyone how she sleeps on her side. And so when she wakes up in the morning, she has a crease going down her décolleté.
Oh, titty crease.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And I thought, what is that? What is that all about? I sleep on my side. Do I end up with a crease down my face? No.
No.
I mean, who cares about a crease?
Face crease.
Yes,
Bring it on.
exactly.
Yeah.
I
But
wouldn't buy a cream.
I do sleep on my face. I do sleep face down. I sleep like literally face down in the pillow like a starfish.
Really?
Yeah, I always have.
That can't be comfortable.
Well, it is, because that's how I go to sleep. And I sleep all night. And I always have done, though. Literally just
How do
face
you
plant.
breathe?
Through my nose and mouth generally, but maybe through my bum, I don't know, with my face down, who knows? But yeah,
Do
generally...
you use a snorkel?
I breathe the same way that everyone does, Pen. Those gills are just purely for decoration. No, I do. I've always slept face down, and it's kind of my natural position. And if I can't, for example, if there's like, I was going to say the bed's very busy, you know what I mean? Pillows, stuff. I feel really kind of, hemmed in. Yeah, I sleep on my front. With my hands, I'm doing a demo like
Yes.
this. Like, yeah.
If only you could see.
I know, it's a funny one.
That's very strange. Very strange. I find that very strange.
Yeah.
The only way I can sleep on my front is when I go and have a massage, which I know is an anathema to you.
It totally is.
But when you have a back massage and you stick your face in that hole.
It's not that hole I'm worried about with the face down having a massage. Trust me. It's all the other ones. I don't like it.
Oh, you haven't lived. Oh, my goodness. There is nothing like it. Nothing like it.
So we decided we're old because we're boring. Because, we actually, in fairness, we've always been boring. And I think we're kind of looking forward to getting into those twilight years when our boring lifestyle can kind of be attributed to the fact that we are older rather than the fact that we are actually boring. We were boring at 30.
Do you think... I think it's... but yes. The talking about getting older, though, can I talk about retirement?
You may.
Because...
What does that mean?
Well, I was just about to say exactly the same thing. What does that mean? I have had many friends in the past who have had the type of job that they cannot wait to their retirement age where they will be given a carriage clock. Do people get given those anymore?
I don't think so.
Given whatever and,
Nothing, Pen,
waved
nothing.
goodbye.
Booted out the door.
And then they've always said, I can't wait till we retire and we can go and travel or we can go and live in Fuengirola or Benidorm or somewhere.
Oh, I'd love to go to Benidorm.
But yes, why would you, when you suddenly have time to visit people that you love in this country or spend time with people in this country, you then go and live on your own somewhere you've never lived before?
Well,
I've just never understood
I
that.
suppose you're assuming that they want to spend time with people that are in their family. Maybe
That's
they don't.
true.
And maybe...
But friends?
Yeah, possibly. But also maybe it's that warmth on your bones as you age.
Oh, I
It's the
can
cost of
understand
living.
that. Yes.
You can live very cheaply in some places, better than you
That's
can
true.
others. And if you're in the middle of a city where things are, often more expensive and transport is an issue and housing is a cost, it makes sense to me.
The last autumn and spring where the rain seems to have been absolutely relentless.
Why have you not mentioned it, Pen?
Oh, do I mention it a lot? Do I?
I think it's one of your peeves.
Yes. Well, I can understand. For example, if you had some sort of medical reason why cold and wet weather conditions exacerbates it, I could understand why you would want to move somewhere warmer. I get that. But waiting till this big retirement age and then disappearing, I just have never really understood that.
I think that's more of a general life lesson. So I've just been writing a book about a woman who meets a sticky end, shall we say. And she had
honey?
Boom. That'd be a nice way to go, wouldn't it?
Or marmalade?
Oh, I love honey. Yeah,
Yes.
Put me in a vat of honey and let me drink it. Oh, Pen. Bit of toast in there. Now that might be a life raft. That would save me.
Anyway, sorry.
I'm visualising
Sticky
that
end.
now. Sticky end. She has a very sticky end.
That could mean a hole.
And essentially, she was given a bottle of perfume that she only used a couple of times because she was saving it.
Oh.
And one of the things her daughter considers and sort of laments is the fact that this bottle of perfume, which had started to turn, you know, when they go a bit vinegary, she'd never used it. She was saving it. And she says, I wish that she had doused herself in it and twirled in the sunshine. And I thought, that's a really good life lesson, isn't it? Don't save the perfume. Don't save the candle. No. Light the candle.
Exactly.
Douse yourself in the perfume. Probably not at the same time, I'm suggesting. Especially some of my cheap perfume. You'll be woof.
Totally. I'm afraid I've fallen into that trap. I love body lotion. That's because if I wear perfume, I for some unknown reason it stays on my skin. It tends to, go a horrible smell. Whereas body lotion is great. I can wear body lotion, but I get given these wonderful presents of body lotion, and then they sit there and I think, I'll save that for when I go out. I'll save that. Now I've just taken to wearing it whilst I'm picking flowers.
Do you know, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And we have things like, we have food that we save. So occasionally someone will gift you something like, a packet of fancy biscuits, not your regular custard cream. Hello, Pen. Penny's nickname. If anyone sees you in the street, they're going to be going, custard cream. And you're going to go, it's me, I know. That was an impression of you, by the way. There.
Yes. 3 octaves higher.
Exactly. But, someone gives you something like that and you think, I'll pop it away. And then, why?
I found in the back of our cupboard some beautiful, beautiful chocolates, wonderfully presented in this fantastic box that I had put away at Christmas. They've gone out of date now. Do I eat them?
Yeah, I'll come and test them for you.
This is the thing.
I'll test them.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your house tonight.
Yeah, exactly. There you are, you see.
We should test those
chocolates. We could test the chocolates.
For research purposes.
Yeah,
obviously.
Of course.
But it is weird, isn't it? I mean, and also I think that's kind of, it's that idea of deferred gratification. We're not allowed to be happy now or have it now. We have to earn something. We have to wait until we're allowed it. Whereas actually, a bit of instant gratification, fantastic.
Yes.
Like bunking off school or taking a sickie.
But I'm the sort of person that I have no discipline. So if I was given 3 beautiful Easter eggs, I would eat all of them at once.
Which is great. That's your instant gratification. Yeah. I love that, Pen. That's really, go for it.
Well, because I can't just leave them. I think, no, let's just get them over and done with. And then there's no more to have.
Yeah. So I'm just greedy, so I just nick them anyway.
Perhaps I am just greedy, but I've given it a different name.
Considered greed.
Yes,
quite like
definitely.
It. So we've been watching, I don't know if are you a Netflix person?
I am.
We've been watching quite a lot of Netflix. As you know, I watch Durrell's every night.
Yes.
In fact, Sydney said to me yesterday, have you already seen this? And I said, I know the words. I've seen it probably 30 times. And he can't, doesn't compute for him.
I can't... I hate to say it, but even books, I can't read the same book twice.
What?
No, I don't think I've ever read the same book twice. Even if we choose a book at our book club that I've read before, I won't reread it. I might brush through to just make sure I've got the right people. But I never, ever read a book twice. I don't like watching the same film twice, ever.
Penny.
Same programme, no.
So I have classic films or films that I love, my favourite films, that I have probably watched in excess of 100 times.
Actually, that's true. I have got classic favourite ones.
What's your favourite movie of all time?
It has to be either Mary Poppins or The Sound of Music.
Oh, Pen.
And to me, I know every line, I can sing every song, and I love them, absolutely love them. But, I wouldn't be the type of person that would say, I've always wanted to, I watch Casablanca once a month.
Yeah, no. So the films that you're talking about, is that because they remind you of your childhood or your kids' childhood, or they put you in a place where it's so nostalgic that you want to revisit that?
Totally. I remember sitting at home when I was little, watching Mary Poppins. It was really sort of comforting, very comforting. And now, of course, I've watched both those films with my grandson, and it was wonderful. I remember I had him in my arms dancing around the kitchen to Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It was amazing.
You can say that, but you can't say subscribe. That's
exactly.
Very interesting.
Subscribe.
Oh, Pen.
Woo! I've been practicing.
I'm clapping you from afar.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, I just can't, I don't like watching things twice. There's too many things out there. Too many things to watch. Actually, talking of watching things, Can I just put in a recommendation?
Please do.
Have you watched Ted Lasso?
Not yet.
For me, that is the series of the century. I just absolutely loved it. It was so heartwarming, funny, kind.
All the feels.
Yes. And you just knew that you were going to feel good at the end of every episode. And
Bit like chit chat and all that then.
Definitely.
But that's the kind of thing I want to watch. So my favourite movies are things like Muriel's Wedding,
Yes.
Papadopoulos and Sons. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic about a Greek
I couldn't
family.
say it, so I couldn't ask for
You
it.
can ask for it at Blockbuster. Can I help you? Yes, I'd like that one, please, about a chip shop. No, it's fantastic. But those sort of domestic family stories with heart, with, a lovely gushy warm ending, the will they, won't they. I love all that so much.
Actually, I remember watching Moonstruck.
Oh,
Cher.
yeah.
I liked that. But I just don't really.
So I don't go to cinema anymore, do you?
No, not really. I think I'd like to go. And then I sort of think, I can't be bothered. Let's wait till it comes out on Netflix.
See, I just think we're kind of spoiled, aren't we? Our particularly my sons, their generation, they're sort of in their late 20s. That thrill of just being able to, the first time you could download a movie at home and watch it in bed on your laptop, it was like, what world is this? And now it's so, we don't consider it, do we? We just think, I might watch a movie and I don't even finish it. I think, I'm not enjoying this. I'll go back to browsing.
Yes.
Thank you for the recommendation. And yet at the cinema, you paid such a hefty price for your ticket and £25.30 for a packet of popcorn that you were obligated to sit there. And it was like a huge event, wasn't it, going to the cinema?
Did you ever queue as a child?
Yeah, regularly.
For something that was really, you were
Grease.
desperate to see. Oh, Grease.
I remember queuing for Grease.
Yes.
My mum took a car full. This was the days before seatbelts were legal in cars, or to wear them was legal in cars. And I think she crammed about 6 or 7 kids, terrible really, into her car. And we drove to Hemel Hempstead. I know, yes, Hemel Hempstead. And we watched Grease. And it was a huge deal. I remember being totally just lost to... I mean, it didn't occur to me that the people playing those high school kids were actually in their 30s.
No.
And actually it's incredible. It's homophobic, it's misogynistic, it's just awful when you look at it as an adult. I mean, I remember that one line from one of the songs, which I'm not going to sing, you can thank me later, where they say, tell me more, did she put up a fight? And that idea that she had put out a fight before any shenanigans had occurred was almost said as though it was an attractive thing, a slight frisson. And look back at that and you think, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It was terrible.
Yeah, but I sort of feel you have to take these films and books and all the TV programmes that we now look back on and say, oh gosh, how dare we have watched that? But at the time, they were of their time.
Absolutely right.
And I mean, who wasn't in love with John Travolta then?
Yeah, true. Oh, he was lovely, wasn't he?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Danny. Yeah, he was lovely. But I look at the messages in it. And I was, obviously, all young girls, we all were very, very impressionable because that was our age. We're these little hormone sponges who are sucking up everything. And I can just remember thinking, if I was skinny like Olivia Newton-John and had red lipstick and, beautiful hair, then all the boys would want to snog me.
Well, I
was probably right, actually.
Yeah, probably. But so which is your sort of favourite film of all?
If I had to pick one, for nostalgia reasons, it would probably be Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh yes,
because my nan took me to see that. And my nan and granddad, funny enough, met when they were 12 because my granddad was a scout and my nan was a guide. Oh. It's so cute. And that was in East Ham in East London. And my nan then carried on guiding and being a guide helper, a guide person.
Was she not a brown owl or whatever?
I don't know the terminology, so I'm shying away from it. I mean, I don't want to embarrass myself by saying she was an Arcala and everyone says there's no such thing as Arcala. You've just literally made that word up.
No. There were Arcalas. I think, wasn't that Scouts?
I don't know.
Now, I'm going to say something very controversial now because I wasn't a guide. I was an inter. Do you know what inters were?
No.
I think...
Spell it for me.
I think I-N-T-E-R.
Inter.
Yes. I think it was something to do with a Baptist church.
Right.
I may be wrong. And I definitely didn't imagine a whole 10 years of my life.
I don't know, Pen, I've met you. I think it's
going
possible.
to the local memorial village hall.
So you did all that Brownies did?
Exactly the same, but we wore a different uniform, different hat.
Sounds quite
And
fancy.
instead of Brownies, we had Junos. I know. I wish I could meet someone who was also
Junos.
Yes,
Okay.
I need to know anybody out there who, when they were younger, were either a Juno or an Inter, and we used to carry colours. Carry flags for sort of marches. And
Very, very Brownie-like.
Yes, very Brownie-like.
Was it a breakaway splinter Brownie
Well,
group?
I think it must have been something to do with the
So
the
did
church.
you go to a Baptist church?
I think it was held in a Baptist church.
Right, and you happened to be passing one day.
No,
they pulled you
a friend of mine.
and said, be an Inter.
Yeah, a friend of mine went on a Friday night and she said, do you want to come? So off we went and we did we did badges. And I remember we did firefighting badge and sewing badges. Exactly the same.
Firefighting? Well, I wish
Yes,
I'd been an Inter.
yes.
The best I did was cooking the badge, and I had to go to a lady's house. And I had to fry an egg, and I couldn't do it, and I cried, and she did it, and I still got the badge.
And then we used to have this big thing where you used to have the presentation of the badges won.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved it. I really, really loved it. And then on the way home, we used to buy fish and chips.
Oh, that's why you loved
Yes,
it.
exactly.
I got asked to leave Brownies, but it was a misunderstanding.
Was it something to do with the Arcala?
Believe it or not, it was something to do with yoga.
Do tell. Do tell.
As you might have noticed, when I get the giggles, when I go, I just can't
I
control
have
myself.
noticed.
Yes. Hello, Kettle. And our Brownie leader, I can picture her now, her name was Polly. Polly, the Brownie leader. She was very into yoga, which was very ahead of her time. Wonderful,
Yes.
back in the early 70s. And we all had to sit in a circle, and she was asking us to do these particular yoga moves and meditate. And I remember that she did a tiny, tiny fart. Which, when you're 8, is quite possibly the funniest thing you can ever imagine. Actually, 58 is still quite funny. And she did the tiny, tiny fart, and I heard it, and I just went hysterical. I mean, literally, like someone had, I lost it, laughing so badly that I was told to go and stand outside while all my fellow Brownies were doing the downward dog. And I was outside the door watching, looking through. And when my mum came to pick me up, she said, "Have you had a lovely time, darling?" And I said, "No, I laughed because she farted." And the woman said, "I did not fart." But she did, Pen.
Well, do you know what?
And she asked me to leave. But I think it's because she farted and I called her out on it.
At the beginning of this conversation, I was saying perhaps I should try and get you into yoga. I've completely gone off that idea now.
Yeah, we would have a laugh, though.
Yes.
But yeah, I think she wanted me to leave because I was aware of her bodily habit rather than the fact that I wasn't participating in the yoga correctly enough.
Because having attended quite a few yoga classes in my time, I'm afraid those sorts of things happen quite a lot. Because, you're opening up like a flower. And consequently, things happen that are beyond your control.
My mental imagery is not anything I want to share right now.
When we finish recording, I'll do a few downward dogs.
Please don't. Because honestly, I'll be videoing it.
I've got to stop snorting my way through these episodes. I mean, honestly, that's all I seem to do.
I don't think people mind, Pen. What's a snort between friends? One thing I did want to ask you, quite random. I've been looking at the history of Bristol and doing quite a bit of research into things. And I just wondered, if you could have lived at any other period in history, when would it be?
Having been brought up in Bath, I think I would have found it fascinating being a Georgian.
Oh, yeah?
Was Jane Austen Georgian?
Probably.
I mean, history was never my strong point.
Or literature.
Or literature. The weird thing is, whenever I talk about anything to do with books, I just look to you for some advice. And you look at me as if to say, well, I don't know. I don't know.
But and also the worst thing is, when you ask me these things, I know the answer at 3 a.m.
Oh, but that's no good to me.
Especially when we're recording.
Yes.
So it's like at 3 a.m. I go, "Oh, Jane Austen, yes, of course, she was born in," and I give the dates in my.
Yes.
But right now, yeah, my mind is literally singing the theme tune from Friends.
What's that got to do with anything?
I don't know, Penny. I'm just saying that's how it works.
Yeah.
It's,
so
random.
Bath is a very Georgian city, and the buildings are absolutely beautiful. And sometimes I would walk through the streets and just imagine how amazing it would have been to have had that amazing fashion
Yeah.
sense. Beau Nash. He was...
Oh, I thought you said Boneash, bone ash. I'm going, bone ash? What is that? Is that some kind of being an intern? Bone ash. Oh, God's sake.
Do you know what?
What were you saying? Sorry, everyone.
Oh, dear.
Okay, we're going to have
Beau.
Oh, as in Brumble.
Beau Nash was very fashionable in Bath. Lots of things in Bath are named after Beau Nash. Nash.
Right.
I have to sort of speak to you in English and then tell you what the English means.
I don't know what, I've never heard
Yes,
of it, but I
Beau
will
Nash.
investigate.
I went swimming in Beau Nash baths for years and years and years. That was my Beau Nash cinema
I
in
didn't
Bath.
believe you.
There are all sorts of places in Bath called Beau Nash, not Bone Ash.
Right. Oh dear. So Georgian.
So Georgian, yes. And there are. I just think it would have been a very beautiful time.
I think if you were wealthy.
Yes, because basically wealthy ladies in the Georgian times used to sit around and sew and chat.
And snog. I've seen Bridgerton. I know what goes on.
Well, in the parterre.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
See, I always think I'd quite like Elizabethan times, but it was very stinky.
Well, and all, yes, I mean,
Stinky.
and
People were stinky, the streets were stinky, sewage systems were stinky,
yes.
general
Whereas
stinkiness.
Georgians started to get their act together.
Yeah, they did, a little bit.
Yes.
Plus, you know, I always think, knowing my luck, if I was in those times, I'd have some rotten job. I don't know.
That's the thing. If you were...
So you would have been a lady, would
I'd
you?
have been the wife of a country landowner.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
I can see you've given this some thought, Pen.
I have. I can just... I'm picturing the house now with the beautiful drive.
Oh, a lady
gravel
that comes
drive.
to talk about your landscaping
Yes.
with the earbud in her
Yeah.
hair. I'm getting it all.
But yes, and then I'd just sit around and read, play the harpsichord. Can you
Can I play the harpsichord? Is what you're going to say.
No.
Actually, no, this may surprise you. I cannot play the harpsichord, Pen.
But and sewing a bit.
Do you believe in
learning
past
French.
lives?
Oh, now that's an interesting one. Because isn't it weird how sometimes you meet someone and you think, I must have known them before.
Me and you.
Yes.
When I was a Viking. This means you were a Viking too.
I don't think I was a Viking.
Well, how could we have been friends?
How could we be friends when you weren't a Viking?
No, I mean at the time. 'Cause
Yes.
if you knew me in the past. But I find it interesting when people talk about their past lives, and a lot of people are very into regression and things like that, and I find it fascinating. But why were they always at the court of Henry VIII or of Pharaoh? Why were they never Trevor from Nuneaton, who passed away in 1976 and worked in a car park?
Because you can't say car park. That's why.
Why?
You'd have been Trevor from Nuneaton who worked in a car park.
But why, Ben? Why is it always this exotic life? Where are all the ordinary people?
Perhaps the first time round you do these amazing things like you're a pharaoh, or as you say, you are Elizabeth.
Almost like you have to do
first.
every job.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then the second time you come back, you're Amanda Prowse and you just write books.
Do you mean just write books? Hello. Oi, oi. None taken. Thanks, mate. I don't know.
As opposed to being a pharaoh. I mean, you know. Me, I was a fairy. They spelt me wrong.
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think you were a fairy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay, so here's a question. If you could travel to 100 years in the past for one day or 100 years into the future for one day, which would you choose?
Oh, that's really hard. I mean, the optimist in me would say the future, because I think it can only get better.
You think we'll still be here?
Well, maybe. And that we'd have really cracked it. You know, we'd have sorted it. We'd have made sure we protected the planet and we've done things right. But then I'm thinking, actually, do you know what? It's going to be downhill from now. I'd prefer to go back. Can you imagine how exciting it was at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution? suddenly realising that instead of going by horse, we could actually have a machine that took us from A to B faster
Yeah.
and easier. I mean, how exciting would that be?
It must have been. I mean, that was more than 100 years ago, but I think it's particularly Bristol.
See, I told you history wasn't my big point.
But Bristol in the 1830s, I mean, my goodness. The Great Western Steam Paddler, the first metal ship to go across the Atlantic. You know, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Is that Isambard Kingdom Brunel?
Yes.
The things that he was doing, just this general age of engineering, which changed the lives for so many of us. I'd like to go back then. But 100 years ago for me, of course, I would know the people who were alive. My great nan was alive. My nan was born in 1924, so in fact, it was her birthday just last week. She would have been 100.
Well, even more amazing, my father was born in 1908.
Wow. So you could have gone back and seen your dad.
That would have been amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Oh,
And
Penny.
he was the youngest of 10.
Oh, my gosh.
And his father was a solicitor and used to travel to America a lot. And of course,
That was
he
unheard of.
Well, he had to go by boat.
Wow.
And so he would be gone for 6 months at a time. And then he'd come back. Surprise, surprise. My grandmother would get pregnant again, and then he'd be off again. And then another child would be
I
on the
love
way.
that.
He was the youngest.
So could I ask, what piece of advice would you give your father in his ear as a child to carry him through to the future?
Oh gosh, that's really difficult. Because he was the youngest, I think he had an easier time of it actually. But their family was quite well off. He had a governess, and I mean, it seems weird because that's my father we're talking about. I've sort of jumped a generation because my father was an older father.
Yeah.
So obviously I never knew my grandparents. I have this wonderful picture of them as Victorians. So it's very odd.
See, for me, it's a very easy answer. It is buy shares in Google and Apple.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'd tell him. But maybe I'm just a cynic. Pen, we are out of time. What a lovely chat we've had.
We've really gone round the houses today.
And that's a shock, like we never ever do. Thank you all so much for listening, for joining us for another episode. Keep your eye out for our next episode, which drops every Friday.
And definitely follow us on Instagram at The Chit Chatters. Please message us. Tell us what you think. Comment on things that we've snorted and laughed about.
Yeah, please do. Until next time, take care.
Bye.